Hey, what's up, everybody? Stephanie with Life Leadership. I am back. I told you that I've invited you to my evolution, right? And so I'm just allowing you to get to know me a little bit better. And so on my last video, I talked to you a little bit about me, and um, I was just throwing out there like who would be my target audience, right? And so I said, some of the things I've been through. I've been a single mom, and I wanted been overweight, severely, morbidly overweight. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about that journey, and just sharing a little bit about my story, right? And so, talking to you about being overweight. Again, I used to weigh 420 pounds. In June of 2010, I had gastric bypass surgery. The type of surgery that I had is called the duodenal switch, or for short, the DS. That type of surgery, the reason why we chose that one was because you get the best results through that type of surgery, especially when you have so much weight to lose. And because I had so much weight to lose, that's the one we went with because I wanted some long-lasting results. But just sharing, in 2010, I was 35 years old. Yeah, 35. In 2010, I was 35 years old, and I was 420. I've always been overweight ever since I was a little kid. So, I always dreaded. I used to tell my friend all the time. I used to tell her, if I ever get too big to fit something in Lane Bryant, I want you to shoot me. Well, I got too big for stuff in Lane Bryant, and she did not shoot me. I just kept getting bigger. So, she did not help the situation. But I had always been overweight, and my weight played a huge part. Because it's not cool, especially I grew up in what I call a multicultural neighborhood, but really it was primarily, there was a mixture, but I grew up with a lot of Caucasians, and so when you are, especially in elementary school, I was like always the only black girl, the only black. Okay, so I was black and girl. Didn't matter if it was boy or girl. There was a few of us sprinkled through there, but for the most part, I was the only black person. So, and then on top of that, so you stand out because you're African American, you stand out because you weigh the most. And so, for reasons, like I said before, I was always on Front Street, and it wasn't always like enjoyable. So you stand out because you're African American, you stand out because you're overweight. So, it just wasn't enjoyable, right? So I grew up and I was always heavy. That as a teenager, it played a lot into my self-esteem and a lot of the choices I made, trying to get attention from boys, from guys, because I had such low self-esteem and because it was just so hard. And even then, now, if you thicker than a Snickers, there is a lot of options for you, right? You can go, there's Lane Bryant, there's Trower, and Route 21 has, Forever 21 has a plus size section. Route 21 has a plus size section. Everybody, there's so many more options for you, which is great because I had to shop at the grandma store and try to piece together something that looked like a teenager's wardrobe. So it was a struggle. Like, I was going to, if anyone is familiar with the store, The Avenue. Before it was The Avenue, it used to be called Smart Size, okay? And Smart Size, every shirt had like anchors on it. So, that's just, it's like, you can't be a middle-aged, overweight woman without wearing a sweatshirt with anchors, apparently. So, but I was 15 with a sweatshirt with anchors because that's the store I had to shop in. So, it was bad. It was bad. Anyway, Um, so, but I was overweight because I overate. And I overate because of the other compounded self-esteem issues that I had, being the only, like I said, I was the only African American girl, and so I would, nervousness and being picked on. A lot of times, if you stand out, then you end up being the target for ridicule. We all look alike. What's different in this room? Boom, you are, right? So, in order to sort of ease my mind into self-medicate, I did it through food. And understand, I remember self-medicating. It wasn't just as a teenager. I was doing that as a little girl. Um, I was put in a lot of stressful situations um, with my parents, and I was the only child that was raised in the house. I'm not an only child, but I was the only child raised in the house, and so I was a witness to a lot of adult situations that made me nervous, and so in order to sort of pacify me, you know, especially if I was a witness to a lot of tense things. We'll take you to, and after this, we're going to take you to McDonald's. So that is how I began to associate food with a safe place, a place where I could sort of decompress. And again, like I said, that started early. I was about 6 or 7. Or, I had a lot of, like, I was the only child. I had a lot of adults in my life. And so they were constantly like, baby, let me give you $10 so you can go to McDonald's and get yourself something. Because that was their way to acknowledge me in the midst of adult situations that, I'm sure I'll talk about at some point. But they were adult situations. So, but that was the beginning of my overeating, and that just carried itself into my adulthood, and till it just spiraled out of control. And I thank God it was nobody but God that allowed me to have a job at that time. That I had excellent benefits that afforded me to be able to have that surgery. And even coming to the decision to have the surgery was like a huge deal. I was really close with a supervisor of mine, and I remember sharing with her, because I have a really outgoing personality. I have like I can have conversation with anyone. My sense of humor. I sort of, not even sort of, I will say certain things. I'm just naturally funny. Probably, I'm sure part of that was another way of survival for me, being the only. Let's just call it that, being the only, right? So I'm sure that was a way for me to sort of survive. But it's also been a place of I don't put it in any resentment. It's also been laughter is definitely. The Bible says that laughter is like medicine, and I believe that with all my heart. That I would not have been able to survive. I would have lost my mind probably through a lot of things if I had not have laughed. So laughter, laughter will get you through. So I remember sharing with my supervisor that I had sort of come to the realization that I was going to have this surgery. And I remember she said to me, she said, well, I hope you still stay the same. I hope you're still your, funny self, and that you don't, change. And, I remember I was like, I instantly was offended, right? I was offended because I'm like, I'm not gonna be me unless I'm fat. I'm not gonna be funny unless I'm fat. And so I was super offended by that. You know, I didn't blow up her spot. I wanted to, but I wanted to, but you know, I was really offended because why is it that, you know, I can only be me unless I'm morbidly obese, right? Um, but coming to that realization, I definitely, you know, wanted to save my own life, and it was a trip because afterwards, you know, it took 6 months. I had to jump through a lot of hoops in order to have the surgery, and then once I had it, but just the mind, it was my mind was blown at some of the things that I didn't know that I did, um, or the way it was even the way I held my body, right, and it just took a lot of adjustment. If some of you are out there and you are thinking about having surgery, definitely, you know, do your checks, right? Check with your family if you have a husband or a wife, and you want to make sure that, you know, they're good with it. And you, listen, you have to be tight as a unit. I've seen a lot of marriages break up and relationships. You have to be prepared. If you don't really realize where you are mentally, like weight is 1/8. Uh-oh, I hear my toddler. I think he didn't woke up. I tried to record this before he got up. But weight is like 1/8 of your issues. So even after you shed the weight, right, it's going to be a whole lot of stuff coming up to the surface. Uh-oh, he's asking, you know, he's asking for me. But, you know, definitely I just want to talk and share a little bit about that. I'm going to come back to you. Come back to you. Say hi. Say hi to the people, son. Say hi. Hi. Yes. So I'll definitely come back and talk more about the weight and give you some details on my experience of losing weight, and just to really empower some of you, because like I said, the emotional part, there's a whole spectrum of what you go through. I didn't even realize what was going on, and that once I lost the weight, a lot of stuff I thought was going to go away didn't go away, right? So this dude, he's a ham. He loves the camera. But you know, again, welcome to my evolution. Say hi to the people. This is my son Harrison. But you know, I just want to share and continue to walk with me. Share me, invite your friends.